Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leveraging Your Reality, where mindset meets movement. I am Siobhan Terrell Camper, your realignment coach and your partner in growth. This channel is for leaders, for parents, and people who want to stop surviving and start showing up as a healthier version of themselves in life and relationships and leaderships. If you are ready to align with your truth and elevate, you're in the right place. Today, I have an interesting topic for you all. Something I noticed it happened with myself. I noticed it happened with my clients. Is we are in situations that people are showing up predictable, yet we act surprised by their predictability. And what we're really surprised is that how come they haven't changed what they're doing? How come they're still doing this same old thing that is not working? But in reality, our surprise is misplaced. They're going to be who they are because we can't change other people. People have to choose to change for themselves. And unless they're willing to change for themselves, we're stuck with that version of them. And instead of being surprised by the version of them that continuously shows up, we really have an opportunity to shift beyond allowing ourselves to get worried, worked up by how someone else shows up. In this whole to be expected, it is reminding yourself this person is acting just the way they always act. And I have to accept that that's how they act versus being completely surprised by how they're showing up. And it really gives us the power to be okay with where people are and how they are. And how we choose to interact with people is up to us, but when it comes to work and when it comes to family, oftentimes we're interacting with people that if we could choose it differently, we may not interact with that person. But you can't help that such and such is your coworker. You can't help that you have that uncle. It's just the way they is. They're going to be at the team meetings. Your uncle's going to be at the family gatherings. And getting yourself into a place of, hey, they acted how they usually act is a much healthier place than, I can't believe they act that way. Why did they do that? They're consistent. Allow yourself to work off of their consistency and let it be. Because if you allow yourself to work off their consistency, then you keep yourself calm and chill in these situations versus getting all worked up based off how other people are choosing to show up in a given situation. We can't control them, but we can be thoughtful about how we show up in reaction to them, in response to them. It really makes me think about, I did a talk a few months ago at Harvard, and one of the things that came up in the conversation is first generation. And a lot of times when we look at this concept of first generation, often we're looking at it in terms of college and coming into the United States. And there are more ways for us to consider the concept of first generation. And one of those ways is first generation emotional intelligence. One, this is a newer term and concept. And some of us are getting access to this concept of emotional intelligence in our workplace or even in the content that we ingest. But it just because we're getting access to this information and have been familiar with it and hearing it more and more often, it doesn't mean that all the people we're surrounded by will have access to this information or be willing to consider or accept it. And we have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with first generation situations. It is usually the younger crew comes over early. They get access to it, but the older crew may not have the access to it. So they're going to be people in your workplace and in your family that may show up very different from an emotional intelligence place, and that's fine. That's how they are. They're in that to be expected situation. And I think we also have to be patient. Things are changing at a rate of speed faster than ever before. And it used to take things years, sometimes decades to make a change. And now it's taken moments, days, weeks, months. And that is really fast. And everyone will not be able to keep up with the rate of change. I struggle with it sometimes. I'm like, geez, it was just that way yesterday. Now it's this way. Oh my goodness. And when there are so many things changing, everyone is not going to be able to keep up. They just will not be able to, especially people that have grown up in a place of being used to things. And you're like, no, this is the way that it is the way it's always been. We don't have to force other people into change. It's more so coming from that place of understanding that, hey, the things that I have access to, the things that I understand, everyone in my workplace or everyone in my home is not going to have the same understanding as me, which means they're not going to have the same approaches as me. And that's fine. We often spend too much time and energy trying to adjust and change who people are versus putting that energy into adjusting our understanding of those people and even having some compassion and some empathy for where they are. It makes me think about my grandmother. My grandmother is, I think she's like 72 years old, and she is, when it comes to booking her travel, she calls me, and every time she calls me, she apologizes. I'm so sorry, I got to call you again for this. I know you should say I should try it out, but I'm afraid I'm gonna make a mistake or mess something up. And I'm like, Granny, it's okay. I'll do it for you. And I do it for her because she didn't grow up with the same type of technologies that we have now. And she is better than she was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, but she's not at the capacity of where I am. And as opposed to judging her for where she's not and forcing her to move along faster, I'm appreciating that she's moving. And I might be booking her travel for years to come, but that's okay. She calls, she could FaceTime, she's texting. Those are all really huge things. And we don't consider that some people just didn't grow up with all of the technology in their hands. Like me, I'm part of the millennial group. And I didn't get my first cell phone until I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. That is very different from my kids who had their first cell phones in elementary school. Like that's a lot of years of experience difference. Like they are getting this at such a young age that they know how to move it and access it so much faster than we do. My kids are always having to teach me something when it comes to technology, and I appreciate when they're patient, kind, and understanding. When I'm like, "Oh, how'd you do that? Slow it down, break it down again." And we have to keep that in mind when dealing with other people and how they show up in their emotional levels, in their communication levels, even in their understanding levels, and being kind and considerate and patient with people as they make these adjustments. My husband is one of these people that constantly help me live out and practice my work, because it's one thing as a coach to do this work and support other people to do this work. It's another thing to actually live the work. And living the work by far is the most difficult part of it all, because I can tell, I could say all day, oh, what about this? And have you considered that? And work with my clients to brainstorm all these different ideas. But I also have to do my work as a coach, working with the different coaches that I work with to support me so that I can think beyond where I'm thinking, because I think sometimes we forget when people have titles and roles, we forget like they're human too. I'm human too. I have struggles just like you. They have struggles just like you. And in working with my husband, we have very different understandings and beliefs about things. And sometimes I'm like, why can't you just see it my way? I just want you to see it my way, do it my way. And he's essentially asking for the same thing. Recently, I decided, you know what? If the situation's not gonna change, I need a change. Because if I don't change, I continue to allow myself to stress, worry, be all worked up about situations that don't have to be worked up. I was on the phone with my husband last week and he was talking about politics. He's really into politics. I don't know much about politics. And he was asking me my opinion about something with politics. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have an opinion. I'm not into the things you're into. And he was like, I just want you to say something, have an opinion. And I said to him, hey, honey, um, here's something that you might have to consider. I am not going to be able to meet all your needs. And being a intellectual conversationalist when it comes to politics is just a need I'm probably not going to meet for you anytime soon, possibly ever. And I encourage them, like, find a friend or a family member that can meet this need for you. Because I see that you want to have this conversation about politics. I'm just the wrong person to have that conversation with. And I could listen, but it's only so much that I can contribute because I don't know a whole lot about the topics that you're talking about. And just reminding him and encouraging him that instead of being frustrated with me, there's another way, honey. There is another way. And I also have to be patient too and look at adjusting myself. My husband, straightforward, direct. Complete straight shooter is not even funny. When it comes to emotions, he's like, just focus on what you need to do and keep going. For me, I get excited about things. When I want to be excited with someone, something just happened. I'm like, oh my goodness, can you believe this? My husband is not the first call that I make. I will call my sister, I'll call my aunt, I'll call one of my friends because I know they can meet the level of excitement that I want to have in exciting moments. My husband gets down to logistics, and I'm like, this isn't about logistics yet. This is about being excited. To try to have him constantly be something that he's not is unfair to me. It will constantly leave me frustrated. I have to be willing to change my perspective on the whole situation. One, no relationship or situation is going to meet all your needs. Hands down. Whether that is a work situation, whether that is a friend situation, a romantic situation, whatever situation it is or person it is, no one person or situation will meet all your needs. Just like you will not meet all the needs of someone else. And that's fine. And to put an expectation on others or situations that they're going to meet all your needs and all your expectations is unfair. It reminds me of a conversation I had today with a client. And they're talking about getting a new job. And I'm like, oh, well, what are you looking for in a new role? And they're like, well, I was talking to one of my peers and I realized how much money they made and I realized I didn't make that much money. And they're like, I feel like I'm off. I'm not keeping up with my peers. And I'm like, all right, what do you need to make more money for? And they're like, just to have more. I'm like, oh, so your bills pay, you have extra to do the things that you want to do. And like, essentially, yes. And I'm like, all right. So the job is supplying you with enough money to support your lifestyle and some more. They agreed. And it was really about getting down to like, what is the need that you have that this job is not meeting? Because sometimes we'll keep going back to the employer, give me more money, give me more money, give me more money. And it's like, hey, sometimes jobs don't have capacity to constantly give more and more and more. If you're looking for extra money, determine like how much extra money am I looking for? Is it 10,000? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 70? And think of ways that you might be able to generate that income in different ways. A lot of times people are leaving jobs that meet so many of their needs to run into another situation that looks like that meets the need that was missing, but might not meet the holistic needs. And we will leave out, it's like, it reminds me of the 80-20 rule, where you get 80% of what you want and 20% is just stuff, you got to deal with along the way. That happens in jobs too, where the job may meet 80% of what you're looking for from a partnership with an employer. Doesn't mean it's going to meet everything. And sometimes we just get so focused on that missing 20% that we lose sight of, hey, but there's a whole 80 that's there. Similar in a relationship. We're trying to fix and adjust the 20% of a partner or a friend that is off versus just appreciating the 80%. And it's the same, like, we have to remember, like, hey, I may got 80, but I'm missing 20, and having that same, like, just having capacity for people to be beyond perfection and to be human. And first, we need to start within ourselves. You all know I'm really, really big on start within yourself. Hey, if you look for perfection within yourself and you're looking for yourself to be able to be 100% for everybody in every situation, setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. There are going to be some things you just don't do well for other people or situations. That's the reality. That happens. And it doesn't make you bad or it doesn't make you bad. Yes, you're imperfect. We're all imperfect. But it's more of, it gives you understanding of, listen, no one's perfect. And to put expectations on anyone to be perfect is unfair. To put expectations on myself to be perfect in every situation is unfair too. Like, I'm not going to be perfect in most situations. It's just a reminder that when you're in a situation and it's a reoccurring situation that's stressing you out, stop looking at the person, stop looking at the situation that you're trying to change, and step back, take a look at yourself and see, where do I need to shift my perspective, shift my approach in handling things to address my stress versus expecting other people to take responsibility of your stress levels. Also keep in mind, there are some people that they may not change anytime soon. And instead of expecting them to show up and be different tomorrow, put them in the to be expected category. You're predictable. You showed up just the way I thought you would. And that's just where they are. Keep in mind, growth is not easy. But when we do it together, it becomes more possible. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe, share it with someone on the journey too. We don't grow alone, people. We grow together. Until next time, keep showing up and keep leveraging your reality.